The first thing we need to focus on if we're going to build any of the ROCKNUS S.E.R.E band products is, of course, the card. Okay, let's collect up all the parts needed to build the Son of MOAB Dark Ops Special Edition S.E.R.E band. 15 feet of TITAN SurvivorCord Paracord. Now this is a liquid-filled compass that comes in the standard Son of MOAB S.E.R.E band. And this is the upgraded version that comes with the Dark Ops Special Edition. It is luminous, meaning that all of this can be charged with daylight and glow at night, including this lid, the inner lid. Also, it is oil-filled rather than liquid-filled, which means it can handle colder weather than the standard version. And if you take a look at the bottom of this special compass, you will find a SOLAS panel, which is very nice. SOLAS surface. That's SOLAS, daytime, nighttime reflector. So this is the upgrade. This is the Dark Ops Special Edition. And this buckle has the light built into it. It is, again, 2 pieces. And there you go. Next we have another buckle. Again, comes apart, 2 pieces. Now this one has quite a bit in it. We have a P-less whistle right here, very nice. Okay, we have a ferrous rod right here in the middle, okay, which is a fire starter. And of course you need something to strike the fire starter with, so on the other side of the buckle, there it is. That is ceramic. And just like any other fire starter, there you go. This is also a ceramic blade. A very, very sharp ceramic blade. This never needs sharpening. This will cut anything it touches, so you be very, very careful with that. Alright, and that goes right in the sheath there, carefully. And we're going to put this right back together. And if you flip this around, you'll notice on the back a signal mirror. This looks a little foggy, but that's because there's a protective plastic layer over this, which you're going to peel off at the final stage. Okay, but not now. Surgical tubing, 5 Ranger bands. Ranger bands are essentially large rubber bands. A fishing kit consisting of 2 hooks and 2 tin, not lead, tin sinkers. The Dark Ops Special Edition comes with an additional external soft-tailed lure, tin sinker, and hook. And this is a different kind of hook as well. This is an octopus hook. These items, their colors and styles may vary. Let's go ahead and put all the Dark Ops items separate over here so we know. There's our external hook. There is our soft tail lure, and there is our extra tin sinker. This is your standard kit. This is your Dark Ops Extras. 50-pound test spider wire glow viz. Alright, this is braided line, glows in the dark, 20 feet. There we go. Okay, this is 100-pound test Kevlar cord, 36 inches. There we have it. Also included is 24 additional inches of wire and 24 additional inches of wax jute cord, which is tinder. And this we are going to pull from the spare footage of this, and I'll show you that later. All of these parts are listed on the actual card, and the card itself is one of the parts. The P38 John Wayne can opener. Every bracelet comes with 2 water purification tablets. Now, no good escape and evade S.E.R.E band would be complete without a non-metallic handcuff key, and one is of course included in this bracelet. a Chimpan, security pin, safety pin. People call it all kinds of things, but that comes with the kit. One sewing needle. These are great for anything from actually sewing to removing splinters, etc. A metallic patch. This is extremely sticky once you peel the back off it, and this can patch up a canoe. This could patch up a leak in something that could have been otherwise used as water storage or a cooking utensil. Triple antibiotic ointment, which can also be used as a fire starter. A wound seal with the W. Wound seal. Here is a pair of nitrile surgical gloves. Gorilla tape. A 2-inch helping, like so. Aluminum sheets. These are 9x11s. The V92 Day Bright surface. A 1-inch piece of this, like so. Every ROCKNUS S.E.R.E product also comes with a waterproof bandage. Plastic sheeting, 12-inch pieces. You're going to get 2 individual 3x3 squares. A 16-ounce screw top seamless tin. Okay, these are good for all kinds of things, from food storage, water storage, to cooking. Looks like shredded wheat, don't it? The old school shredded wheat. That's wood wool. All right, in our case we're using aspen, all natural. Now this is good not only for packing, keeping this safe and shipping, but obviously this is great tinder. Nice little tinder bundle. And we're just gonna temporarily just jam it down into our tin. And now we're just gonna lid it up, and there we go. So that is it. Those are all the pieces to the ROCKNUS MOAB SERE band, with the few additional pieces that you would get if you were to get the Dark Ops Special Edition. So it's time to put this together. Step 1 is always going to be wash your hands, okay? Make sure they are very, very clean. Now, what we want to do is get both of our ends together, okay? I have them. Put them even together, because what I want to find is the center of my paracord. And I'm going to do that by simply making sure this stays nice and together, and then go ahead and pull it. All right, and at no point are we going to let that lose track. All right, so just pull it, keep it even until we get to the other side. Look at this, how easy. So easy we can just do it on camera. All right, when we get to the other end, look. There it is. That would be my center. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take that center and make a little loop. And there it is. That is the middle, all right, of my 15 feet. Didn't even have to break out a tape measure. Grab that little buckle that has the fire striker in it, and with the whistle side down, facing toward you. This is the front. That's the back, okay? With this facing toward you, simply take that loop, poke it to the front side, grab the loop, and put it right over the top of the whole thing. Like so. And then just pull that through and make a nice tight knot right here. There you go. Step 1, you've already attached a piece. To properly measure a SERE band for the wrist that will wear it, simply grab one of the other ends, lay it down, place your wrist over it, and find a nice comfortable feeling and make a loop. Something like so. Okay, take a peek at that. Now see how I got a little bit of space in there? About a finger could fit in there. You don't want to make this tight around your wrist. Okay, think about wearing it, any wrist swelling, any weight gain or loss. Okay, just Make it comfortable. If you make it too tight, like this, you're not going to enjoy it, okay? So lay it down. You're going to find a nice comfortable spot. Okay, so if you have a nice comfortable bit of space there, go ahead. Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, you're going to go ahead and release the loose end. Okay, and then you're going to have basically one strand measured right here. Just bring it down to your tape measure or your ruler, and without stretching it at all, lay it out. And as you can see here, if I move my finger out of the way, mine will be exactly 8 inches. Okay, this one will be an 8-inch bracelet. So remember that, write it down. Okay, back to this end. Simply take this end apart, and now we're going to work on the other end. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go all the way down to the other end. Get your 2 ends side by side. Here they are. Okay, get them nice and equal. So take your other end, and this time we're going to put one end through the back. And we're going to put one end in through the front. Simple as that, okay? Pull it through. Pull it through. All right, and we're just going to pull those through until we get close to the other end, nice and even. Until you end up with this. Okay, and keep everything nice and even and straight. Don't let things twist and turn. Everything's nice and straight. And make sure you go in and out of these ends the way that I showed you, because of the way the knots form, okay? You want this knot formed in the front that dents in. If you have the knot in the back, you're going to have a hump here in the end. So just believe me on the way these go together. Always do them this way. All right, when you pull this tight, that's going to be a lot nicer than having this hump on this side. See what I'm saying? So every little bit of what I'm telling you, including going opposite ways on this, matters when we make these knots. So, as you can see, we now almost have what looks like the bracelet beginning, okay? There's a bracelet, but it's not measured yet. Okay, but as you can see, if we clip that together, there is the start of your bracelet. See how easy this stuff is? It's so easy. Okay, so pop it apart and let's measure it and get it right. And once we get this, we gotta lock it in. So if we know we have an 8-inch wrist that we're gonna build this SERE band for, here's how we're gonna measure it. We're gonna measure from the flat part of one side of the buckle to the flat part of the other side of the buckle. See where they connect? That is why we measure exactly right there, those edges. So let's bring it down. There we go. I have this at 8 inches if you measure from exactly where I showed you to measure, but we're going to go bigger, and this is important, okay? For the Son of Moab SERE bands, you are going to add 1 3/4 of an inch. And let me tell you why. Because this 8 inches, okay, this circle in here where your wrist fits is going to have some bulk added to it, and so it's going to thicken up on the inside and the outside. So to end up with an 8-inch SERE band, in this case, you need to add that extra length. So let's add the extra length for the Son of Moab SERE band. That is 1 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so if I was at 8, I want this to be at 9 3/4, and I am not there, so I'm going to pull some more, a little bit more. An 8-inch bracelet, we are at 9 3/4 now. You see that? There is the measurement for the ROCKNUS Son of Moab SERE band. Okay, keep that paracord pinned tight. You're going to pick it up and don't let it slip at all. Okay, this side, we have a nice perfect measurement for this. And now we're going to tie the first knot and lock this in to this length. Okay, so laid out on a jig for easy viewing, you can see we have my right one is going from the top down and coming out, and the left one is going up from the bottom and coming out the top, okay? So if you would like to copy exactly what I've done here for ease of following along, go ahead and do that now. This is very simple. What you want to do is take the one that went in through the top and came out the bottom, whatever side that is for you, and simply make a loop. Okay, drag this piece across the two paracord strands here and have a loop. And notice that this loop is on the right side in my case. Hopefully in yours too if you're following along exactly. Whatever side it's on, just note the side that the loop is on. It's very important. Now, the other side, simply take that string and drop it over the first one, okay? Reach through that loop underneath and grab that and pull it through, okay? Very simply. And pull it all the way through. And you're gonna find what you have is basically a square knot. I'll do it nice and slow, okay? And there it is. Straighten it out a little, tighten it up, and of course I'm gonna jig so nothing moved. And this is what it should basically look like. Okay? It's a very simple thing. Now you want to do it the way I showed you because of the way the knot forms and the way these buckles are. You're going to get a nice knot right here that keeps things flush rather than having the bump sticking out the back and throwing things off. Alright? So just believe me in the way I tell you how to knot these. This is how you want to do it. What do we remember? Remember we did a loop on the right last time, right? Like this. So, remembering that, we're simply going to do the loop on the left side this time. Look at that. There's my loop. I'm going to take this string here and I'll put it over. I'll hold it there with my thumb. Alright, I'm going to reach through this loop, grab it, and pull it. And then all the way to the end. And there we go. Now, I'm going to do a few of these so you can see what this is supposed to look like. Okay, what did I do? I did the left. This time I'm going to do the right. Here's all that's happening, okay? I'm actually simply taking the other end of this, going over this string and back up through that one. See? That's all that's really happening there. If I pull that, same exact thing's going to happen. You see that? It's a square knot, basically. It's just your basic, you know, it's like tying a shoe. Okay? So that we did it on the right. This time we're going to do it on the left. And I'm going to go a little faster and faster to show you how easy it is, okay? I made the loop. I can actually hook that string with my finger, push it down, and look, just grab it. Okay? Pull it through. There it goes. Boom. Alright, so I'm going to back this off all the way back to the start, okay? Remember we got our first knot in there? And if you recall, we started with the loop on the right side, okay? This time we're just going to do loop on the left side, bring this one over it, and grab it through that, bring it through, okay? There we go. And I'm going to start doing this faster and faster, okay? So you can see. So that was a left side loop, this is a right side loop, over, through, okay? Now I'm going to do a left side loop, over and through. Okay. Now I'm going to do a right side loop, over, through. Now, don't follow me and don't do this. This is good practice and whatnot, but we have to back this off because we're actually going to load this up with stuff. Okay? So that's as simple as that. So if you did it right, you'll start to be able to see a pattern. Okay? It's going to look nice. Chain link. Okay? It's a very simple process. So once you learn the basic how to start it off and how to remember that loop, switching sides, it's very easy. Okay, and just to show you that you can do this by hand without a jig, let's go ahead and remove the jig for a moment. Okay, and this is what it is without a jig. Okay, you've already got your first knot. Very easy. Okay, so what do we do? Remember we made the loop on the right side like this? Okay, that's what we did last time. We made the loop on the right side. This time, we're going to make the loop on the left side. Just make a loop, cross it over the two. Okay, you don't need the jig. Take the right side, okay, go over the first string and back up through the loop. There it goes. Okay, and since you're already tight up here, you don't have to worry about anything. Look, just pull it tight. And there you go. Now here you're going to want to work it a little. Okay, push your little knots. There you go. Okay, so we just did a loop on the left. We're going to do back on the right again. We're going to put the loop, Make sure the string goes over the top of our main 2 pieces of paracord. We're going to cut this one over that and back, over that one and back up through here. Okay, simple. Pull it through and pull it tight. So see, you don't need a jig, but I'm going to continue to use the jig just for easy viewing. Okay, now you have the first piece attached. We have our first knot on. Let's go ahead and separate the right from the left and work our way down. And when you get to the bottom, what you're going to do is take the light buckle, okay? 1 click, it's on. 2 clicks, and you got a flash. 3 clicks, it's back off, okay? So we're going to take our left strand and our right strand, and we're going to take that light with the bulb facing you and down. From the back side, go ahead and insert both strands of paracord. All right, and go ahead and pull that down. Pull that all the way down near the end. All right, now what we're going to do is, again, keeping the left and right separate, is go ahead and over the top, insert them through the face, the part that's facing you. Okay, left and right back in there, and pull those through until you get to the end there. Okay, and now you have 2 strands going over the top of your LED buckle. Now you might think to yourself, well, that's going to block the bulb and the button. That makes no sense, but it does make sense because that's what you want. You don't want to have this button inside here inadvertently pushed every time you bump something. Okay, so it's tucked in between the strands of paracord. And trust me, the light is perfectly fine. And when we're done, you'll see that this stays nice and separated like this, okay? But this is a bumper. So let's move on. All right, now you should be left with something that looks like this, okay? You can almost start to see a SERE band forming here. So here's what we're going to do. Simply take this and flip it around like so, okay? I want you to go ahead and break apart the whistle / fire striker buckle. All right, and just leave that piece right there, just like it came off, okay? Pop it off, leave it right there to avoid confusion. All right, now all you got to do is stick your finger between the 2. Again, we have a left and a right now. We're just going to pull that all the way down to the other end. And here we have a left and a right. So all we're going to do is take that little buckle that we have left right here, and we're going to take the right one and we're going to go right in through the face. You see, that's the face. The other side has a mirror on it. We don't want to see that side. Turn it over so the face is there. Take your right one, put it in through the top. Okay? Pull it through. Okay. Hello, there's the rest of my bracelet. Now we're going to take that left one, and on the left side, from behind, you're going to put it in. From behind, not in through the top. This time we're going in through the mirror side. Okay, and pull that one through. Throw it off to your left. And you should see something like this. Okay, let me get that a little closer for you. Okay, there's the initial knot that we tied. There is our LED buckle, and here is the other end. Notice the right side goes in through the top and comes off to the right, whereas the left side goes in through the bottom, goes off to the left. Now, everything I show you from here on out, of course, you can do without a jig, but for the sake of ease of viewing on the video, I'm going to go ahead and use the jig. So I know I have an 8-inch wrist that I'm building this particular one for. Of course, you'll be building this for whatever measurement you have. So I have this set for 9 3/4. Remember, you're going to add 1 3/4 to the size when building this to whatever wrist size you measured. Okay, and the reason for that is the bulk. As it gets bulkier, that little hole that your wrist used to go through is going to get smaller. All right, so we're not going to, if you have an 8-inch wrist, you're going to add this 1 3/4 inch length. Okay, so we're at 9 3/4 for this one. I'm just going to pull that nice and tight. Okay, now what I want to do is go ahead and just adjust this light just a little bit. What I want to do is center it, all right, directly between the two black ends of my buckles here. Okay, I want to try to center that the best I can. Okay, push a little up, pull a little down. Check it. How's that look? With my OCD, I would move that just a little bit more. So I'm going to just give myself some slack. I'm going to push a little up, just a little this time. Pull a little down. Okay, tighten those up. Check it. Make sure it's pulled nice and tight when you check it. And I feel like that is pretty good. We're using the calibrated eyeball method here. Okay, I'll get that as close to the middle as possible. Now, what we're going to do is tie the first knot over here. And you guys already know how to do that, because you've seen it a million times. So I'm just going to go ahead and bust that first knot out and put a loop on the right. I'm going to cross over, reach through that loop underneath both of my tight strands, pull that through, and off it goes. All right, now right at the end here, what I like to do is go ahead and pull up on that one, pull down on that one, put my finger there. Keep those nice and tight for this first knot, all right? You want these nice and tight to keep that size correct. Okay, excellent. First knot has been achieved. Okay, now pull the Gorilla Tape patch off the lid. You should find one sewing needle, one safety pin, and 2 hooks. If you have a Dark Ops Special Edition like the one we're building today, you will have an additional octopus hook stuck right there in the middle. You're going to go ahead and pop that right off of there and put that aside. Now we'll take the Gorilla patch with the hooks, pins, and needles, and we'll go ahead and install it. And what we want to do is put it directly center of the bottom half of our bracelet. Right now we're going to pinch these strands together when we do it. We're going to put this directly in between the edge of this light buckle and that knot, the edge of this knot. Okay, so that's right about there. And what you want to do is start on the bottom and put your pins and needles against the paracord on the bottom. You can pinch that paracord together. Okay, and you should find that it pretty much runs flat across the bottom there. You shouldn't see pins and needles sticking out at all. They're running flat across the bottom of that paracord. All right, make sure you get that side done, and then just go ahead and wrap that up, keeping left strand left and right strand right. Wrap that up nice and tight. Okay, and you will end with that lip right there loose somewhere, and that's fine. That's what you want. That's a grab lip, so you can remove and use that piece. Get at those sharps, and there you go. Next, grab your pre-folded 9x12 sheet of aluminum foil. You're going to center that on the other side and wrap that on. And again, you want to make it nice and tight. Trying to avoid bulk. This is a relatively bulky SERE band as it is because it's so chock full of items. So don't add to that by putting extra wrinkles and air bubbles. All right, take your time, press it out. Keep your left strand left and your right strand right all the time. There we are. Now the good thing about aluminum foil is that it'll stay on there for you. It doesn't just unravel itself. It's nice. You bend it, it stays pretty much there. Go ahead and grab the surgical tubing and we're going to measure now. What you want to measure is from knot to knot, right from the edge of that knot to the edge of that knot. Okay? I'm going to do this on the bottom because it's flat. Okay? And we don't have to worry about humping over this. Alright, so put it in the bottom, right up to the knot, measure it straight across without stretching. Don't yank on this, just hold it up there. Measure to the knot. Okay, I got it marked with my nail. It's going to be right there. Get your scissors and go ahead and cut that to length. Alright, so that should be perfect. If I lay that back under there, touch it right against the knot, bring it across without stretching, and it is perfect. Okay, perfect. That's what you want all the way from end to end. Okay, now we're going to take that rubber hose and we're going to go ahead and take one of the tin sinkers, stick it right in the end there. It should fit snugly and you can tuck it right down in there. Then go ahead and pinch that and let it go down, not too far, you know, send it down 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. Alright, I'd say 1/4 of an inch. Now don't worry, you can squeeze these right back out later on. Alright, but there it is. It's nice, it's trapped in there. Other end, you're going to put the other sinker. Pop it right in there and go ahead and push it down. Give the end a little squeeze to drop it in a little deeper. Great, alright? You have your two sinkers and your surgical tubing. Now, put that down for a second. We have our first knot already made. If you recall, we made the loop on the right to make that knot. So this time I'm going to make it on the left, cross over, under everything, up through the hole, and, but I'm not going to crank that down yet. I'm just going to get it kind of close, but keep it loose. Now take the end of that surgical tubing and tuck it right underneath. Put it right up against that first knot like it was when you measured it. Okay? And keeping everything held in place best you can. You're going to go ahead and tighten that second knot up. Make sure you try to keep that hose underneath. You want it directly on the bottom, centered. Alright, and now that's got that pinned in there. Nice, and if you feel it across, it should still measure right up to your other knot. Everything's beautiful. Okay? Next, go ahead and grab one of your nitrile surgical gloves. Go ahead and fold the thumb and first finger over. Okay, you want to get it about the same width as what you have left here. Okay, press all the air out. There shouldn't be much in there. They come pretty flattened and air-free, but just press the air out. Now go ahead and fold those fingers up like you're making a fist. And right all the way down to that last knuckle. You know, spread the bulk out as much as you can. Now, that's ready. Now grab one of your 12 by 12 sheets of plastic, okay? What you want to do is measure that, okay? How much space do I have between the knots? And then fold your sheeting accordingly. That looks good, all right? You can jam it right up to that knot. I'm going to wrap that on, and that is going to go over everything. Okay, wrap it on nice and tight, wrinkle and air free. Keep that surgical tubing on the bottom of your work. And there you go. Okay, now unlike the foil, if you let go of this, it's going to try to unwrap itself. You don't want to use a piece of tape on this because it's going to ruin the plastic wrap when you go to take it off. Okay, so you're going to hold that. This is why we prepared this other glove ahead of time. Now I'm on a jig, so I got to do one thing, but you, if you don't have a jig, could simply take your work and lay it down on top of these fingers. I am going to pick this glove up though. I'm just going to put it under here, size it up, squeeze things together till it fits in there, and now I'm holding down my plastic wrap with the glove. Alright, and I'm going to start wrapping that glove. Now what you want to do is when you wrap it, keep it tight, but don't stretch it. Does that make sense to you? Keep it tight, but you don't want to stretch that material. Alright, tight to keep wrinkles and air out, but do not stretch. And the reason for that is because these are nitrile gloves. They're not silicone or rubber, so they have stretch, but only a certain amount to them. And if you stretch this material too far when you're installing it, what's going to happen is when you go to bend the SERE band around your wrist, you're going to put more stretch on it. Okay, now you stretch it past where it wants to go, and it could potentially tear. Okay, so let's not do that. So we're going to get to about here, and I'm going to stop. Now you'll notice I've done my best to keep everything tight. Okay, there's no bulges and wrinkles. Everything seems to be pretty even. Now grab your 2x2 piece of metallic patch. Lay a waterproof bandage directly on top of it, followed by the aqua tabs. And we're going to basically, you can go, feel free to grab that glove by its end now. We're going to just put it right in the end and tuck it right up against the paracord. You can fold the end of the papers down on that band-aid to get it to the right size. Everybody's wrist is a little different size, so fold accordingly. Try to just use the end of the band-aid if you can. Alright, keep the bolt down again. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there and slide it right up to and as far over my paracord strands as possible. You can see it going in there, right there to the end. Okay, make sure everything's in there nice and straight as it was stacked. Alright, now continue the wrap. And when you get about this much left, what you're going to want to do is, instead of pulling both parts of the glove, okay, let go of this inside piece and just grab it by the outside. And what's going to happen is when we finish the wrap out, it's going to seal this bottom lip underneath. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. There it goes. It's starting to seal it. Okay, and you'll notice I'm adjusting this glove as I wrap to keep it below my buckle and below my knot. Okay, everything needs to stay below the knot. You don't want things poking out of there. It won't look nice. And again, I'm pulling this tight but not stretching. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and enlist the help of some simple Scotch tape. Alright, the first one's going to go up top, not all the way, just, you know, right about there, just to hold it in place. And I fold the end of the tape down just so I get something to undo it with later. And there you go, there's one piece. Here comes another piece. Hold my end so I have a little grab loop there and tape that one on. Alright, and I'm going to take one more third piece and just use it on the middle. Alright, and now we can continue with our knots. So I made the loop on the left, going to make it on the right this time. Alright, now these are important knots because you're going to tuck any little loose ends of glove underneath. Make sure that everything is beautiful. Alright, good. There we go. Use your paracord, pin down there any loose things. There we go. All right. See this technique I'm doing? I'm using two fingers, I'm hooking it over and giving a yank this way, two fingers hooking and yank this way. It helps when you're going over something rubber, okay, because you know they get the traction of the paracord on the rubber, so that helps. Okay, I'm going to do one more loop. on this one. And now I can remove tape slice number 1. Alright, because I've pinned it down now with the knots. And I'm going to save that piece of tape because I'm going to use that in a minute when I get down here. Now you're going to want to grab your compass. Now in this case we have the Dark Ops Special Edition luminous oil-filled compass. If you have the standard Son of MOAB SERE band, you may have the standard compass. With the luminous oil-filled compass, we're going to go ahead and put the open door toward the top. Okay, place it right on top. Alright, and you can close it. I just had it open so you'd know that's where I want it to go. Open door towards the top. So how does this work, attaching these things? Well, it's quite simple. You're going to do exactly the same thing you've been doing. You're going to make your loops. You're going to cross over onto, okay, just like we've been doing. The only difference is, rather than just laying this across, we actually have to pull that all the way out to the end, like this, okay? And we're going to put that through the bottom of the compass, okay? Okay, right to the bottom, out it comes from the other side. Pull that through. And as you can see, if I lay that on top, we have created a loop on the right, just like any other time, right? It goes across my strands of paracord, all right? And just like any other time, I can take the other cord, go over, underneath everything, and back up through my loop. All right, so the only difference is that we're going to go through the accessory, whatever it is. In this case, it happens to be our compass. All right, now before I crank this one down, it's on, good enough, I can go ahead and remove my second piece of tape. Actually, I'm just going to move this second piece of tape a little. All right, there we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and push my paracord all the way to that side of the slot underneath my compass, okay, and finish this knot out, tighten it up. There we go. There we go. Trying to keep that compass right on top. You might have to maneuver some things. You know, you'll see. You want to keep it nice and centered and right on top. Okay, like this. Okay, so we made the loop on the right last time. We make the loop on the left this time, but we got to go all the way to the end. There goes one. Put it over. Bada boom. Okay, and this thing's going to try to move around on you. You're going to need to just adjust it until you get it tightened down with a couple of these knots. Loop on the right. One more. Nice. Okay, at this point, we can actually just continue on the way we used to. Just throw it right over the top and just make the knots like you're used to. I'm gonna go down, and looks like I can remove this tape, or at least I'll probably just move this tape a little. Let it help me a little longer. Extra hands. That tape There we go. Let's continue on. Okay, another one. Come on. Okay, at this point, yeah, let's go ahead. That can go over there. And let's move on. Okay, I got room for one more. Now I'm going to make sure I tuck any lips that are sticking out there, like that one, right underneath there, and work it. Figure it out at the end after I get that knot in there. Okay, see that? I'm going to tuck that in, hide any little lips. You don't want anything poking out. All right, right up to the buckle, right up to that LED buckle. Okay, nice tight pull, and then what you're going to do before you move on any further from here is go ahead and give this thing a little workout. Okay, just a little bend, a stretch both ways. All right, and you're going to check yourself. What we're looking for is to make sure that you have a chain link. Okay, you should see a pattern. Zigzag, 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 okay? If you don't see a zigzag pattern, okay, you did something wrong somewhere along the line. You just need to back your work up. You just made the loop on the wrong side that time. Okay, so you should see a nice chain link. If you don't see it, then there's a goof up somewhere. You got to go back and fix it. No big deal. Easy to do. All right, let's move on. Nice little workout. I like to really give that a nice little bend. Don't be afraid. Not going to hurt anything. Back on the jig and moving on. So we know we made our loop over here. It was the last loop that we did. So we know the next loop needs to be on this side, but we're all out of space, right? So this is where we're just going to do a long stretch. That's it. Put it over there. Okay, and you'll see underneath everything includes that surgical tubing. All right, and as you can see, when I tighten that, it's going to tighten up against the bottom. All right, that is nice. We'll just keep that there. Now that's going to get a little sloppy on you if you mess with it, so just leave that alone for a second. And now we're going to work on this part. All right, grab the other glove, lay it down. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. Hold those fingers up. Flatten everything out. No bulk. Go ahead and fold your fingers up like a fist, just like last time. And there we go. Go ahead and grab your second sheet of plastic wrap and measure it between the knot and the knot. Fold whatever side feels thinner to you. Again, always thinking about spreading the bulk out. And we've been through this before, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Okay, you're going to go right over the surgical tubing and everything, wrap it up in there. Tight, wrinkle, and air-free as possible. Now you might notice I went at a slight angle when I did this and started down here, so it kind of filled up the space, and it took that folded edge and kind of spread it out a little rather than running it on top of itself. Okay, so something you might think of. You can see it's just a slight angle, just enough that I make it to the end. Okay, and again, that's going to release itself if I release it, so grab my prepared glove, and now I'll use that to hold things down. Very good. Get it between my knots, start wrapping. And we're not going to put anything inside this glove, so you just kind of just do your thing. Treat it the same. Tight but not stretched. Keep all the little loose ends and fingertips and whatnot in between the knots. Nothing pops out, sticks out from those knots. Okay, see? Nice and neat. You want to always see those knots. I do give it a stretch just to pull any creases out, but then release again before you start wrapping some more. Okay, and you should be getting something of a relatively decent surface there. Okay, very nice. Attention to detail now. Okay, again, you can grab the outside lip. All right, get this below my knot, and look, I'm just going to reuse that tape. One right there in the middle. It's got enough grab to it still. Put one on top there. Nice. And one more at the bottom. Keep everything below my knot. Okay, that looks good. Pull that tight. We know we made a loop on our left to get here, so we're going to go on to the right and go ahead and put the next knot in there. That is also going to help pin down the end of that glove. Okay, loop on the left. Let's move on. And before I crank this one all the way down, it looks like I can already take that first piece of tape off. And there we go. Give it a little crank. Okay, beautiful. Now see, I like this part because now it's just a straight run. Straight run down to the other side. All right, make it pretty, make it tight. Okay, before I crank that down, looks like I'm ready to remove my next piece. Okay, I'll probably move this piece. The last piece I generally have to move it. All right, moving on. All right, I think I'll get one more started. This last piece of tape off. Looks like everything stayed nicely below the knot. There we go. And I have one more loop left in me that will fit in between before I will cross over the knot. Okay, so one more loop. Again, you never want to go over that knot there. See how that pulls it right underneath nice? Now I got a little bit sticking out of glove there, I just noticed, so I'm going to loosen that up, poke that in there. If I need to use something, I can always pull out the modified Chimpan from the kit, help it along. Use the rounded end, don't poke through with that sharp end, okay? Put that in there, that's better. All right. Make sure everything looks nice, and what I'm going to do is, once again, before I do anything else with this end, I'm just going to give it a workout, okay? Just make it loose so it'll be comfortable when you go to put it on. You can even connect it at this point, all right? And go ahead and give it some pulls, look like that. Do not be shy. Okay, you're going to notice your last knot might get a little loose as you do this. That's fine. Tighten it up a little. All right, and continue. Okay, give it something. Give it something. Okay. You guys can see that that's already quite the cool little item. Coming together, you're done good. Okay. Open it up, give it a nice check. Again, we're looking for a nice chain link that doesn't go out of pattern. Turn it over. You can especially see it now on this side, that zigzag. All right, it doesn't, look quite as organized on this side because of the items that are in here, especially this. Okay, this pulls the paracord a little tighter right there, but you still see that it zigzags, and you really see on this side that it zigzags. You'll also notice this side seems to be a little bit thinner than that side in more ways than one, okay? Width, thickness, and that is because we're going to put most of our external items on this side. Just a little side note, if you ever need to change the battery in this, well, the batteries, there are two of them. These are CR1220, two little CR1220s. All you got to do is pinch the buckle, all right, and from up here just pull it, and pull your entire band, okay, and you'll see that it creates a big gap. Oh, you'll see it creates a nice big gap right there, and you can get your little edge tool under there and pop this up enough to get the batteries in and out. In the front of the light, you're going to see a little groove. Very carefully, so you don't hurt yourself, hold it in such a way that you don't. You're just going to want to give that a little twist very carefully, and oh, there it goes. Okay, it's going to pop open. I'm going to just open that right up. Okay, there's two pieces. Okay, so we care about this piece right now. You're going to want to grab two of these CR1220 3-volt batteries. Okay, there's one, there is two. Stack them on top of each other with their plus sides up. Okay, and you're going to notice one side of this has a wall and the other side doesn't. That's the door. Okay, that's the door where the batteries are going to go, and we're simply going to slide the battery pack in, and there we go, done. Take your two pieces, put them back together, tail end first, clip that on there. Okay, make sure everything's lined up nice before you squeeze too hard. Don't squeeze the bulb itself, squeeze next to the bulb, and boink, that's that. Okay, it's done. It's a little bit of a pain, but it can still be done. And so you're asking yourself, why not just run paracord from here to here and then paracord from here to here and just skip all this so we can still take this apart with ease? And the answer is so that we can get a full length of paracord and everything that's in it, including the fishing line, without cutting it, without any breaks. Okay, plus this protection of the button here is, and the bulb is just great. It's a great bumper. I mean, this is something you're probably going to go out in rough situations with. So, you know, this design works. Okay, and it's nice and comfortable under here too. At this point, whether you own a jig or not, we don't need one. Okay, the rest of this is going to be done just by hand right here with the unit. Okay, so if you are sure that everything is beautiful, chain link is perfect, no mistakes, okay, you didn't forget to put any items inside, if you're positive that everything is in there, okay, it's nice and stretched out, you got it where you like it, again, put this thing together and give it what for, make sure it's comfortable. Okay, you should be able to get a nice generally round circle out of that thing. Okay, and then don't worry if it's not perfect right now, because there's more to do. All right, if that's all good, then you're going to give this one last really good yank, and you're going to lock it into place so it's tight underneath this knot. Okay, tight. You don't want it loose at all. There you go. All right, I'm even going to give it the old 2-finger tug. All right, and that's good, because now we're going to cut these off. So grab a pair of your very sharp scissors, and what you want to do is cut it off about 1/4 of an inch away from the knot. Something like that. You can see about 1/4 of an inch from the knot. Okay, now remember there's wire inside this paracord, so this isn't going to cut through as clean and smooth and easy as standard paracord, but there you go. Save that piece. Grab your lighter, and what we want to do is we want to heat up that end. Just heat it. We don't want to light it on fire. We're just going to heat it up, and what I like to do is just bounce that flame back and forth. All right, we're going to melt it into a little mushroom, and then we're going to smash it down with the metal part of the lighter. Okay, so here we go. Okay, bring it in. Now you might see a little flame coming out of the metal wire. That's okay, that's normal. Now try not to burn any of your other paracord, only the very end. You want to turn it into a little mushroom of hot plastic. Alright, that looks good. And then I'm going to mash it right down in there and push it into the grooves. Okay, really jam that down into the groove. And when you're done, it should be like this. Okay, and that's locked that side in now. Alright, melted it all nice. And then we flattened it down and locked it right in there. That piece isn't going to undo. Same thing on the other side. I like to turn it upside down so I can see the actual knot and get 1/4 of an inch, like about there. Snip that off. We're going to save that. And again, go ahead and make a little mushroom, being careful not to heat up any of the other paracord parts or anything. You don't want to heat that glove up underneath. If you see a little metal wire on fire, that's okay, as long as it's not burning anything else up. Alright, that looks good, and I'm going to mash that right in there nice. Yes, I like that. Okay, you can see that's all mashed in there nice. That's not going anywhere. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's ugly. I made this beautiful thing. I have a nice design, and then all of a sudden, black at that ugliness. That's okay. Not only is that going to be covered very soon with a Ranger band, but there's no reason you can't Sharpie that into the color of your choice. Now you may want to do it in a green. I have those. I'm going to do it in black. I like the way it matches the glove underneath rather than trying to match the paracord. See that? Now it just blends in black. Nice. Okay, not that anybody's going to see it because we're going to cover this up anyway, but for those of you with OCD like myself and like the people that I have build these for us, we like to make sure that those are nice. Every little bit of detail, every attention to detail matters. Alright, so there it is. That is now locked in, so I hope everything was in there and everything's good. Okay, here we go. Now at this point, if you'd like to try it on, it should be just a little bit loose. Just a little bit looser than you wanted it to be. Because we have some more things to add. Okay, put that on. If you put that compass on top, that should fit a wrist nice, but see, it should have a little bit of looseness still. Look. Okay. Because we're still going to add some more bulk. Okay, that is beautiful. Now we are left with 2 pieces of paracord left over. And what we're going to do is, one end is already sealed, so that's fine. We're just going to go to the other end and we're going to seal that end up. Now you see on this other side, you can see some of the strands sticking out. So I'm going to grab it down here, let's say, right? And I'm just going to start pulling the outer. Alright, see what's happening? Watch those little, oh, there they go, boink, they're inside now. See, now I got a little bit of this extra material here. You don't want to play with it too much, because you'll pull the fibers. We just worked that skin down. Lighter, don't fail me now. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to heat that little end up, and I'm going to pinch that out. Seal it up. And this, you can just save, and there's some various things you can do with it. That is some spare paracord for you. And at the end of this video, I'll throw a few ideas at you to show you what you can do with this. Okay, so that's a nice little thing to have. There's your spare paracord. Put that aside. Put that right back in the tin. Now on to our longer piece. Okay, again, we have one open end and one sealed end. We're going to go ahead and cut the sealed end off. Just cut 1 inch off, or 1/2 inch, just enough to open it up. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is just slide that outer sheath down, and that will expose the inner strands. There you go. All you got to do is grab those and go ahead and start stripping off the outside skin. So easy, it pulls right out of there. There it goes, look at that. Alright, and they're going to be left holding all of this. We could set this green piece, the skin, We'll set that aside. And now, from these strands, go ahead and pull your waxed jute tinder. Go ahead and pull your non-magnetic copper wire. Now, you're left with the other regular paracord strands and another 2-foot plus piece of monofilament fishing line. You can do what you want with these. You can save these, put them right back in the tin. There's plenty of uses. You could make a small net. You could actually, these are braided, each strand. You could unstrand each one of these braids, and you could use it for thread, for sewing, for sutures. All right, you could use it for floss. Okay, so there's plenty of things you can do with all this little extra cordage here. So that's something you're going to want to save. If you'd like, you can actually add it to the bracelet like these two items we're going to add now. That's up to you. We don't, when we build them, we don't add it, but you are welcome to, because you do have this excess at the end. All right, right now we're just going to wrap this up. Okay, so now we have our waxed jute tinder. We'll put that in the middle. We have our non-magnetic copper wire, and what we're going to do is go ahead and tie the ends of those two things together. Okay, there you go. Now go to the other end of the waxed jute tinder, and to that we're going to add our 3 feet or 36 inches of Kevlar cutting cord. And this, you can just tie it right on, the little knot, little square knot. There you go. If you need to trim your ends, you feel free, but you really don't need to, because we're going to tie them down. So now what you have is one piece of cordage consisting of your Kevlar cutting cord on one end, waxed jute tinder in the middle, and the wire on the other end. I'm going to wrap that whole little bundle up for a minute and just set that aside. That is prepared. Okay, time to add some Ranger bands. Now, the thing about the Ranger bands is that they are like a rubber band, and they're made out of a rubber that's almost like a pencil eraser. So if you were to take this rubber band and rub it on a piece of paper, it might leave behind some black. All right, so for that reason, I don't like to drag these bands down the paracord, especially light paracord. Black, maybe not so much, but even still, it's a good habit to not do that. So what we're going to do is a rolling technique, and I'll show you what I mean. So just get one of the Ranger bands on, and I'll tell you that this side is more difficult than the other side as far as putting these on, because you have this bump out for the whistle. But just stretch that over the whistle, and what I want you to do is be careful when gripping it not to grab it by the ferrous rod. You'll snap that off of there. Okay, be careful of that as you tug and pull. And we're going to pull this Ranger band right over the buckle. Just got to be patient, and you're going to start seeing why you need to have clean hands at all times too, because that's going to get all over. You're going to do a lot of yanking and pulling. All right, now you notice I'm grabbing up here. I'm grabbing everything up here flat, and I'm not giving it any twisting leverage. Just be very careful not to snap off your ferrous rod. All right, we're over the hump. Great. All right, now rather than drag it over my paracord, all I'm going to do is get it and just start folding it over. Okay. Fold it here, go around, just start folding it. Okay, we're going to walk it down the paracord, and that's going to make it less chance of staining. I can fold it now again because I got this, and see what I'm doing? I'm just working it down. All right, this is probably the most actual work you're going to do on these. Okay, do it again. Just walk it down. Here goes the second one. All right, I'm gonna flip this one. Walk it down. Okay, see, once I get two on down here, I like to put my third one on so I can flip it over other bands rather than drag it across paracord. The less we drag these down paracord, the better. Your hands will get a workout. And if you make a bunch of these, you'll have a nice strong grip eventually. People from all over the world will fear your pinching ability. Okay, so I got that third one on. I'll go ahead and flip it. And just walk it all the way down to the last position now. This is the worst one. This is the most work. Now we'll take our antibiotic and wound seal pods and we're going to install them underneath these two ranger bands on top. These two ranger bands right on top. And what you want to do is notice this valley. So you can see it, the valley right there, okay, between the paracord, you can see it. That's where you want to place these. You want to tuck them right inside those little valleys and cover them up. So we're just going to peel this top back. We're going to lay one in there and cover it over. Okay, so if you get them in there right, you really almost shouldn't be able to tell they're in there. Okay, because they went in the groove, so they don't add too much bulk. Of course, the bulk is on the outside anyway, but let's keep it down so the thing isn't ridiculous. They are indeed underneath. Okay, let's flip that over. So we're going to use these same two ranger bands now to install the P38 John Wayne can opener. Very simple design. There you go, and we're going to install this with the blade part facing against the paracord. And all we're going to do is once again peel back, put an end in, peel back, put an end in. Very simple. And there you go. When it's on, it should be nice and straight. Okay, the end should be completely covered so that they're not uncomfortable on you. Alright, now before we go too far, give that a little bend and a twist. You're going to find it doesn't bend any longer right in this area, and that's perfectly fine. That's what we want because we have hooks, pins, and whatnot in here. Okay, we're going to yank it, pull it, twist it up the best you can. Now see this? We're already getting a much more comfortable fit. It's loose, it's not tight. See, it moves a little. But see the gap closing up as we bulk it up and begin to take up space? We're almost done doing that. We've got a little more to go. Time to install the modified Chimpan. Alright, so with the SERE band open, okay, with the compass at top, we're going to turn it over on its side. And we're going to install the Chimpan right here in between the links using the same two bands. And what we're going to do is we're going to clip it onto the first band. Just clip it right on, okay, and then completely under the second band. Alright, and go in as deep as you can. And when all said and done, it should look like this. Okay, you can see I clipped it onto this band and then tucked both of the loose ends under the second band. Okay, and it's tucked underneath into the groove nicely, nothing sticks out too far, and there it is. Let me just show you my fingers after yanking on those rubber bands for a while. So this is what I'm talking about. This stuff will rub off, especially on your light colored paracord. So even gloves will pick this up and transfer it. So, you know, I like to just use bare hands and wash them. I'm going to go wash them now so we don't mess anything up. First band, and we're going to flip this thing back onto the buckle temporarily. Right back, flip it right back, right out of the way. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and take our coil of 3 different cordages. Alright, if you recall, we have our Kevlar cutting cord, we have our wax jute tinder, and we have our non-magnetic copper wire. We're going to start with the Kevlar cutting cord, and we're just going to wrap that on this end where that Ranger band used to be. Let me show you something. Okay, now this is going to work the same way as what we did with the pods. Okay, you can see this hump right here. You want to use this hump, and if I flip it around, you'll see I have 2 humps here. Okay, you want to use those humps to wrap and keep your cordage in. Now we're going to want to cover obviously this too, so the idea is to try to use this rivet, keep it tight so that we can cover it all back up again nice and neat. Okay, so let's do that now. Again, just starting with the Kevlar cutting cord. I'm going to put it right on top of that ugly little melted spot. Alright, and I'm going to find myself. There we go. That's a nice little ravine. Alright, I've pinned the end down. And now I can see. I have a path I can kind of follow here. And here we are at the copper wire. And I'm going to use that copper wire to go ahead and pin down any loose ends here toward the end. And I like the copper wire to be last because of the fact that it doesn't unravel itself when you let go of it. Plus the end of it acts like a needle, so you can kind of stitch it in between the other strands to finish this up with no loose ends, as they say. Alright, I'm at the end now, so I'm going to go ahead and just tuck it in to some of this other cordage underneath. Nice and neat. Nothing sticking out, nothing crazy. Alright, and now I'm just going to flip this back over, okay? And there we go. No cordage showing at all, and as you can see, the melted ends where we cut the ends off are covered. Beautiful. Now I'm going to grab my non-magnetic handcuff key and I'm going to slide it right under here, like so. And there we go. Same side as the part that sticks out of the whistle. Okay, same side as your Chimpan. Alright, next we are gonna put on the spider wire, but before you do that, if this is the Dark Ops Special Edition, first you're gonna want to add the extra octopus hook. So we're gonna put it right here. And what you want to do is put it in between some paracord strands. You don't want to put it through paracord. You don't want to put it through the glove. Okay, you want to be careful. So it's going between paracord strands. And as you can see, at that point, it will fold over nice and flat. And we're going to use that to pin down our bait tail. A little rubber bait tail. That can go right in the groove. And you're going to pin that down. And now we'll wrap the spider wire and pin all this down. Okay, so this is Special Ops Edition only. If you don't have the Special Ops, if you have the Standard Edition, we'll just wrap spider wire here. Alright, you got 20 feet of this, so this is going to be a relatively thick wrap. I like to try to keep my spool all nice and just pull off a little. I put a little on, take a little off. Again, we're going to try to use the grooves keep everything nice. Try to keep it only as big as one Ranger band. Alright, just loop it through at the end. Alright, and you're going to have a little piece sticking off that you can just tuck in. And it should look like this. Nice and neat. You really don't see the bait tail at all. You barely can even see that little loop on the hook. Alright, now you're going to want to grab one more Ranger band, put it over the buckle, and carefully slide it right up to the edge of that cordage that you just put on. About like that, and then we're just going to do the flip trick. Flip it right over. That way we don't pull everything. Alright, for the Dark Ops Special Edition, we're going to add the one additional tin sinker to the same side that we just put all that spider wire on. Just lift that up, tuck that under, find a little groove that it fits in. Oh, Haverhill. And when all said and done, it should be very neat, like this. Nothing showing, none of the spider wire showing. You don't see any of that fishing kit. You don't see the sinker. You can't even tell where it is. You probably think it's here. It's here. No, it isn't. I don't know. It's in there somewhere. All right, so the whole thing should be neat. You should recognize the pattern all the way down. No strands sticking out either side. And there you go. Two more pieces. V92 Day Bright surface. You have a 1" by 1" square. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and pull the blade out of the blade end of your buckle and take that surface, put it right down to the very edge of the buckle, like this. Then we're going to flip it over and we're just going to trace that shape out. Once you have it traced out, it should look something like this. And if you pre-fit it to your buckle, it should fit perfectly. So trim it up till it does. Once you're satisfied, you go ahead and peel that back, and it's got some really good glue. So once it goes on, it's not coming off. All right, nicely lined up. And press it on. Press those edges down too. There's a slight round to the edge of the buckle. You want to stick that down to it. Go ahead and stick your blade back in so you don't forget that. And since we don't want a reflective surface always showing, sometimes we want to cover that up. Here is your last Ranger band. Go ahead and slide that right on, and that becomes a nice little rubberized cover. And now you're only reflective when you peel that back. There you go. And that was the last piece. That is a finished Son of Moab Dark Ops Special Edition SERE band. Put that together, stretch it out, give it a work over, take it apart, give it some more stretching. Don't be afraid, you can't break it. Alright, now I'm going to actually try that on. And there it is on the wrist. That's a size 8. That was measured for me. Now if you'll notice, when all said and done, how much space we end up with. Almost none, just enough to keep it comfortable. Okay, see the little gap there? Just enough that it can still move a little. It's not cutting your circulation off, but it's not sloppy. Okay, so there it is. That is finished. Very nice. Everything is in perfect order. So that's perfectly sized, perfectly measured, and that is done. That's a finished product. We could have some extra non-metallic copper wire by just stripping that out of there. We have fishing line in here that we could just strip out of there. We could pull out the individual paracord strands and then untangle each one of those, because those are braided. We can get some very thin line out of that to use for sewing, stitches, all kinds of things. All right, so just as it sits, that spare stuff is worthwhile to have. Okay, but what else could we do with it? Well, how about a necklace? Tie a knot in one end, don't quite close it, run your paracord through it, now close it. Take the other end, put it around your paracord, and same thing, tie a little knot in it. All right, make them nice and tight. Now you've made an adjustable necklace. Make that as big or as small as you need or like. From this size all the way up to this size. All right, now again with the ends, pull them tight, cut them at 1/4 inch, melt them if you want to just keep that and get a necklace. All right, you can go really extravagant now. Here's what I did. I took the paracord. All right, rather than make that loop, I just went and got one of those cheap little, cost me a few cents. This is basically a barrel buckle, okay? It's a breakaway. So if you pull with more than 20 pounds of pressure, it's meant to come apart. It keeps you from choking yourself if you are gonna make a necklace. Things to think about, okay? And with the other piece, I wrapped the handle. And this is just a cheap little knife. It wasn't anything expensive, okay? But there it is, and I have a nice little neck knife with 660 Paracord survivor cord. All right, with jute tinder, fishing line, copper wire, and everything I need in there. Another thing you could do is take a simple key ring, okay, and using the skills that you learned, make a loop, put it through, wrap it around the keys, and look. Does this look familiar? It should. Go up about that far on it. Just tie a little knot. Make it a nice neat one. Like that. And then just do what you've already learned. Okay? Make a little loop. Cross over. Come up through the hole. Make a little loop. Cross over. Come up through the hole. Make a little loop. Cross over. Come up through the hole. So you can end up with something like this. Alright, or you can make it shorter by just starting your knot lower. Okay, you can adjust the length. It'll be, you know, you could adjust the knot a little lower, this would be a little longer. You could adjust it just perfectly to reach right up against this. Or start from the other side and work your way down here. Either way, there you go, there's a keychain, alright? Snip them, burn them. That's different ways that you can use this spare paracord. So that's a bonus, and I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you find a use for it, and thank you very much for your purchase.